हेलो, नमस्कार। हाँ रवि, ठीक, बोलो। अच्छा ठीक,
Please run on this.
SMS कर दो, देखता
Sorry, take again.
हूँ। What would you take again? Should I now speak?
Yeah. So your new, please clarify your new position.
Director Tourism basically is interested with the responsibility of promoting tourism in Himachal, and by promoting tourism to ensure that the economic benefits of tourism development reach every stakeholder in the state. That basically means every Himachali gets a pie of the tourism product.
And is this different to the tourism board and the tourism department as a whole, or is it part and parcel and a certain segment of it?
No, basically tourism department as such is the nodal department for ensuring the development of tourism in various segments, in various sectors. The physical execution, that is the hotelier's arm, basically is the HPTDC. The ecotourism, that is looked after by the forest department, forest being a major component of that and the environment being the other. So ecotourism has been entrusted to the forest department. The rest of the activities whatsoever are associated with tourism, adventure sports, then development of new destinations, development of various tourist circuits, ensuring infrastructure in various existing tourist destinations, that is looked after by the department.
So your speciality was to see that at every level of social structure, people are able to be part of the tourism industry, such as allowing normal families to give out one room extra without certification, and taking tourism to the village level.
Oh yes, tourism as such, I should say, has been a misnomer up till now. People associate this activity with some kind of a elite, some kind of a disposable income group people. Tourism is a activity where right from the man who is lowest in the social hierarchy to the one who is at the upper crest, each and everyone should have a stake in the tourism pie of the state. State, by virtue of its geographical location, by virtue of bounty of nature, we have many things to offer for the outside world. And let me remind you, without probably consuming the inherent wealth of the state. For example, we are rich in environment, we are rich in diversity. So this diversity does not get affected in case people from outside come and enjoy the same. So for that matter, we have to ensure that the environmental pristine nature of the state, that is kept intact. That could only be possible in case we are able to involve each and every citizen of the state. Up till now, the tourism has been associated with the construction of hotels, with the conducting of what should I say, various safaris by the Tourism Development Corporation or by the private travel agents. Tourism is much more than that. The state government wants that every department should contribute towards the development of the tourism product of the state. The infrastructure development requires that each and every department of the state, whether it is the PWD, whether it is the IPH, whether it is the sanitation, or whether it is the electricity or the connectivity by way of easily available communication circuits, those are made available to the tourists or to the visitors who come from outside place. And then how do we involve a common man? For a common person, a tourist should not be an invader, should not be somebody who is encroaching upon some of the infrastructure to which the locals are entitled to. We are trying to involve each and every citizen of the state by ensuring that the benefits of the tourism, the so-called multiplier effect of the tourism, that reaches the last citizen of the state. For example, you have just mentioned about making available some of the houses for the tourists to stay. The state government launched a very ingenious kind of a scheme in the name and style of a homestay scheme, where 3 rooms, which should be reasonably hygienic, those are registered by the state government, and there the tariff that is not subjected to the state taxation laws, the tariff and other things which are made available on domestic rates are then kept by the owner of that house, and people are encouraged to live in those villages, those localities where the rural India or rural Himachal is at its best. They are encouraged to go in for the local food. They are encouraged to participate in the local customs. We have up till now registered about 200 such units, and we hope to increase it by many folds. The apple tourism, the orchard tourism, or for that matter, we have just launched a new innovative kind of a scheme. Shimla was the Raj capital, and more than half of the world had been ruled from this place. So literally every stone, every house has a story to tell. So on 27th 7 September, which happens to be the World Tourism Day, a new innovative scheme, which is the first of its kind in the country, हर घर कुछ कहता है, और शिमला की कहानी इतिहास की जुबानी, that is every house has a story to tell, and the story of Shimla through various folklores, tales, legends. There are many ghost stories associated with this place. People, or probably every third person in Shimla, has a story to tell about the white ghost, Angrezi Mem Sahab, the churning of bells by those old tangas, and probably oranges turning into how horse hoofs. So all these things we are trying to compile. Some of the historical facts have been distorted, but those have made this place literally more enchanting. These stories are scattered everywhere. We are trying to compile that. In fact, by March 2010, Shimla would be having its first coffee table book in the shape of historical sketches, the present status of the building, the legends associated with those buildings, and the popular stories.
Talking about popular stories, can you please talk a little about Scandal Point, the very famous point of Shimla?
It would be probably to tinkering with the popular perception, but poor Bhupinder Singh, who was supposed to be a great warrior and probably champion of females, he is associated popularly with the kidnapping of a viceroy's daughter. Unfortunately, these facts, which are distorted ones, have historically traveled so wide that now, in case I say that it was his father who had the temerity to kidnap or probably who had been charged with the kidnapping of the daughter of the then Viceroy, Lord Dufferin. He had in fact asked his subordinates to kidnap, and probably he had not even asked them to kidnap. He had ordered his subordinates